Hello and welcome back to another episode of Strong Collectors Comics. My name is Jordan, and as always, I'm joined by my plucky sidekick / co-host Dakota. And we've got some breaking news fresh off the presses. A casting announcement for the new Fantastic Four MCU reboot, and that is that Silver Surfer will be female and played by Julia Garner.
Jordan, that sounds like a familiar name. I feel like I should know who that actress is, but I'm not very good with who people are unless they play an MCU character, so can you give me a rundown on what Julia Gardner has been in before?
Well, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised, Dakota. I think outside of the nerd world, I wouldn't say she's very well known. But she was in, I remember there was a show, The Americans. I think it was kind of like a Soviet spy type thing going on. Pretty well received. I didn't see it. And then I know Inventing Anna was a big show that I think she got some nominations for. I think going way back, she was in Perks of Being a Wallflower. So even myself, I'm not super familiar with her as an actress. However, that part, I'm usually okay with the MCU. They nail the casting pretty well. So I'm usually not too worried unless it's like, some specialty big gun, legend that they're bringing in.
I prefer when they have people that I don't know playing characters versus, honestly, I like that a little bit more than Pedro Pascal being brought in for Mr. Fantastic.
Yeah. So a little bit of context, Dakota, because I know the knee-jerk reaction from a lot of people, and specifically the nerd world, will be, why, right? And I did a little bit of research. Allegedly, it's supposed to be the Shala Bal version. So in the comic books, Norrin Radd, before he becomes Silver Surfer, has a lover, and I believe she's like the Empress of Zenla, the planet they're on. You know the whole thing. Galactus is going to eat the planet. Norrin Radd says, if you make me your herald, whatever, spare the planet. He goes off. So I don't think she ever really had much to do in the comic books beyond that. In Universe X, so it's like a sequel of a spin-off, which was the Earth X. They have some storyline where she and Norrin Radd become like co-heralds for Galactus.
Okay.
So that's kind of the only reference to her being Silver Surfer as a character that I could gather. So I guess that then begs the question, will they do something like that? Is Norrin Radd still a character? Or is it just kind of a whole new direction? What are your initial impressions on that?
Yeah, I think, like you said, there's definitely that knee-jerk reaction of what the heck? But, I think so far Marvel's done pretty good movies. I don't know that there are any movies that I would say are bad. There are definitely some that are less my favorite than others, but I could see them doing something interesting here. But at the same time, it's not like we've really gotten a ton of great Silver Surfer stories before where, I know we'd had them in the older Fantastic Four movie for one movie, and then Galactus, I think, was pretty lackluster in my opinion. So
I know you love the Space Cloud, dude.
Right. I cannot stand when they do big final bosses as space clouds. That's probably one of my biggest pet peeves in all of movies.
Right.
But I think, I don't know, I would love to see more Heralds of Galactus than just the single Silver Surfer. Hopefully, like you said, maybe this leads into Norrin Radd. Maybe we get Terrax, some of the other. I think that would be kind of cool. Maybe we get a Aunt May Herald of Galactus. Probably not, but
was it the Golden Oldie or whatever?
Right.
Yeah. Well, I remember our initial. This has been a rumor for a while that they were going to go with a female. It was speculated Silver Surfer. Then it was said maybe it's a Herald of Galactus. I know some people were thinking. We talked about this like a Frankie Ray type, like a different Herald that's not Silver Surfer specifically. I don't know. It's again hard to say without getting into the story, of course, because you have no idea how that's going to play out. I think. I mean, I wonder if there's even that element of just doing that to kind of draw attention, because it's going to get people talking about it, right? If they just said some dude is playing Silver Surfer, if you're like, oh, it's female Silver Surfer, I think that's going to get people talking about it. So I could see that being an intentional marketing maneuver.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, I hope it's not just changing things for the sake of them, if that makes sense. I mean, if we see, again, you don't know until we see the movie. Maybe she gives an amazing performance and you're like, wow, that was great. and then it's like how important. I mean, Silver Surfer's flat like Ken, anyways, Dakota. So when you really think,
what's the difference?
What's the difference, right? I mean, again, I think we've talked about this before, even with our responses to like the casting of the actual Fantastic Four themselves. I'm usually much more interested in what is the story going to be, just because, like, even if you had I don't even know who I would picture as the perfect Norrin Rad Silver Surfer. Like, I think he was pretty well depicted in the second Fantastic Four movie. Still not a great movie, though. So,
right.
Because they had Lawrence Fishburne doing the voice. So, I mean, he was great. However, a lot of this one, I think, is going to come down to what direction they're taking with the story.
I think it would be kind of cool if we could, like I said, building more characters, if this kind of turned into like how Thanos has his entourage. And maybe that's how you get away with, because that's always my assumption is when they have a space cloud as the final boss, is they just can't do it CGI wise, or they can't figure out how to put that visually on screen. It would make more sense for him to send more of his like Silver Surfer usually ends up being a hero helping the heroes, but then you send some of those more like Terrax and Morg, and then you've got kind of his entourage being more of the issue, and maybe that's even like the first movie, and then that builds, because again, I don't even want to see Galactus in this first movie, because I think that's just too much out of the gate. Like that's my issue with Superman, where you're just putting way too much power in movie 1, and then where do we go from Galactus? Like, we're gonna have Galactus movie 1 and then Mole Man movie 2. I don't think that's the direction we should go.
Yeah, no, I think that makes sense. I mean, I definitely think if Galactus is the big bad for the first Fantastic Four movie, I mean, obviously the fact that we're getting a Silver Surfer seems to indicate that, but maybe that's sort of, like you said, just kind of setting this up.
Right.
It could also be maybe a way. I am curious if they will. I guess I don't know if it's totally confirmed that she is this other character, or if it is just like a version of Norrin Rad. It could be a little interesting if, so that way you don't have to do the whole, like I guess what they did in the last one. Silver Surfer comes, he's gonna get the planet, and then he learns humanity and decides to fight Galactus, whatever. Like maybe there's some, like he's already kind of gone through that redemption arc.
Yeah.
Or, maybe she's like now been turned and comes, and that brings him in. I guess I don't know. I'm not sure how deep they would go with something like that. But yeah, I could see. I would almost rather get Silver Surfer as like a tease for Galactus, rather than Silver Surfer comes, everybody fights Galactus, they beat him, and then they get sucked into the MCU to go fight whoever, Kang, Doctor Doom.
Yeah, I would almost rather it be like, even though like Galactus or like Silver Surfer is, probably coming to warn them of Galactus, it could be like this is just like a post-credit scene casting, maybe. I don't know if they've said like this is for sure like a major role within the entire movie, or if it's just like pops in at the very end. Yo, you guys just beat whoever you just beat. You don't even know what's coming next.
You don't know.
But we know. We read the books.
We know. We read them. Dakota read all the ones after 2000. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I hope it's not... Again, I think people can go too far in the response of it's so important whether this character is male or female in many ways. Like, I don't get as attached to that. I do think if you're kind of just changing things, like, haphazardly for the sake of it, like, let's just make her a female because, it's like, at that point, I think Norrin Rad is a cool character, so I think that would be... I wouldn't like it if he's, like, just never talked about in the entirety of the story. You know what I'm saying? Where, like, I didn't love that as much when they did that with Captain Marvel, where they kind of got rid of, like, Marvel as Captain Marvel and just never really even had him as a character. So I think you could still make that work while also introducing this newer version of the character. So again, very early, hard to tell, of course, what they'll do. I mean, I think I will be very interested in reading the internet comments
for sure
moving forward on this. You know what I know, Dakota? It's going to be woke, ruined, Silver Surfer.
Yep.
But As long as they don't get Antonio Banderas as Galactus, like we had rumored, because there's just no way on earth I'm going to be able to take that one seriously.
I don't think so either.
I just, but again, like I still have no idea how they're going to pull off Galactus.
Right. I hope they can because I've always wanted to see it. And we've got our HasLab Galactus that we're sitting on for an MCU appearance. So
yeah, I know. And if he turns out to be another space cloud, we're going to be screwed. So yeah, and then there's also been rumors it's going to be, I think, in the like another universe kind of 60s setting type thing. I know you don't really like that idea.
Don't love it.
So I mean, at that point, you could even be like, in the main MCU, you have Silver Surfer and it's Norrin Radd, or like I think there's a lot of ways you can get around that. I don't think I'm getting not sharpening my pitchfork yet, Dakota.
Okay.
However, I would like to see Norrin Radd showing up in some capacity because I think that is a cool character. I think there have been a lot of cool Silver Surfer stories that they've done. But yeah, if this is leading, like you said, to opening up the bigger world of like the Heralds,
right,
beyond just Silver Surfer, like that, I think that would be a sweet idea. So I'm hoping that's kind of where it's leading. But I guess time will tell on that. So that is what we have for you today. A little bit on the female Silver Surfer. Let us know, should we be worried? Is MCU destroying themselves even further? Or are they paving the way for more heralds like Dakota wants to see? So be sure to be liking, sharing, subscribing, and until next time, stay strong.